Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing. Get on this journey with us, up and down a bit, and comment your thoughts on everything that we discuss. Like the video, and cheers for the support on the last two, especially. Not good viewing with me going on and having a rant or whatever, but you guys have been there supporting the channel and sharing your thoughts, so I really do appreciate it. Joined by Earl today. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right apart from the obvious.
Yeah, not the best. Right, so we've got a lot to go through. We're gonna talk about like his Villa season over. That's like the main bulk of the episode, and there's lots of different things that we're going to talk about as well. So like I say, share your thoughts. We're going to kick it off, and I've tried to put it in like a decent order to paint a bit of a picture. We're going to start with the first one, Earl. Does Emery know his best team?
I don't think so.
It's
as simple as that. I mean, we chop and change quite often, I think. I think there's obviously certain players, obviously, who are in the best team, but in terms of picking 11 players, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think we can all sort of pick a team and think that that's what we're going to go with. And on the aftermath of the game, I'm looking at a lot of people's thoughts, and a lot of people are saying Mings should have played, like it was the game for Mings, etc. And I can understand to an extent Emery's been rotating the players based on the schedule of, we're looking back at the last sort of month, say you've got Champions League, Premier League, and sort of looking to that next game. So I can understand like keeping players fit and ready and fresh, but I really do feel like we've lost that little bit of continuity between a strong team game on game, and I'm not sure whether that sort of helped us, because it's going to lead me on to my next sort of area that I want to talk about, and it's sort of Emery's quotes after the game, and it's what the players seem to be mentioning as well, is that they keep talking about 4 finals to go and the next game, and does it sometimes not take away some of the like how you're meant to be feeling right now on sort of in that moment, and just to bypass and go, okay, we're on to the next one now. There's 4 games to go, and we've parked it, and there's not really much sort of like responsibility on what we've just seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's sort of just like reading the room, like read the room a little bit. I don't necessarily disagree with what they were saying. I think it's just the timing of it, and you have to, like you say, acknowledge the gravity of the game and the opportunity which has just passed us by, to be honest. But I do think from a player's perspective, they do need to focus on the next 4 games, obviously. But yeah, from a fan's perspective, it's not what I wanted to hear after that. I think I always kind of try and have the mentality of you've got like 24 hours to celebrate the win or grieve the loss. So 24 hours, and then after that, focus on the next thing. And for me, it was kind of too soon coming in with that kind of talk.
I'm just not quite there yet, Earl.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know when is going to be the moment where I park it, but I'm not quite there yet, guys, for some reason, and it's really frustrating me. How are you feeling? Because the general vibe that I'm trying to get at here is that it's okay to look at the next fixture and the next challenge, but the one we've just had was so important. and that's where I'm at. It's as if it's just okay to lose, and I look back at some of the important games that we've had, and Olympiacos Conference League at home didn't show, did we? The away game we didn't show. PSG away, a tough team, but last minute goal we conceded that kind of edged the tie away. Recently, Manchester City, just get the point. And again, another big game at Wembley, and it's just not quite there. And I think it's just really frustrating that we've not been able to at times just rise and step up, really. So talking about Palace and talking about how we played, I want to get your thoughts on what I've highlighted as the next phase of this. Is called control over penetration. Right. How are you feeling about the classic blueprint of play that we've got at the minute? Because you can see on Saturday that we again had a lot of the ball. We dominated possession, and Palace were able to just pick us apart and just glide through us. And I'm going to go back to Emery's thoughts about what we were doing at the time as well. And Emery said, we started dominating with the positioning with the ball, but not creating chances. But we didn't concede a lot of them as well. But when they scored the first goal, we needed to try and get offensively more, and we were pushing. What are your thoughts on our general overall play at the minute?
Well, we have been on a good run up until the last couple of games, and I think the problem we have at times is, well, we've got a few, but one of them is tempo, and I see a lot of people will complain about, it's too slow, languid on the ball, passing it around the back. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't work. But I think what we're guilty of sometimes is, I think what we're trying to do is kind of lull the opposition into them falling asleep, maybe, draw them onto us, and then sometimes we have that kind of slow play, and then we'll burst forward. Rodgers or burst forward with a quick run, or Ramsey, Rashford, whoever it might be, Diaby last season, let's say. But some games, I just feel like we end up lulling ourselves to sleep with with the tempo that we're playing. I think, and the game against Crystal Palace kind of epitomised that for me. We had the one passage of play with Concert. Did he get fouled? Did he not get fouled? But it's kind of sloppy, kind of low tempo, lulling yourself to sleep, like I say. And then the next possession, it gives them a bit of belief, and they go on and score from the next one, or the next couple of possessions, let's say. So I think that's the big one for me is the tempo. I understand kind of being slow at times, but you need that burst and change of pace as well.
Do you think this sort of comes down to a little bit of not what we're trying to do? Because Emery, he obviously wants us to play that way. He wants us to be sort of slow on the ball at times. But do you think the overall system is just not quite there when teams have sort of figured us out? Because I think sometimes, these teams that are sort of like packing out the midfield, and they're stopping us from playing vertically through midfield. We've seen that goal that we score from a centre back to a central midfielder, finding space, someone in that little 10 pocket, and then we're away, aren't we? And that's a blueprint Villa goal. But once you stop us from doing that, we become quite like just languid on the ball and just not like we've run out of ideas. And I felt like against Palace that honestly, like when I was watching it, within the first couple of minutes, I just had a bad vibe. I just thought we weren't going anywhere with the ball. It was just too safe, and I could see what was gonna come. That's where I felt like we were, and I just feel like some of the players just need to sometimes just take a little bit more responsibility out wide, or beat your man, or do something that's off the cuff a little bit, because there's still been like, and this is Emery's style, like micromanaged. There was a period where I think it was Power got the ball, and like Emery was just kept doing this to Cash, kept telling Cash to get out wide, and I thought you shouldn't be having to tell him to get out wide there. Like he should know that he's got to get there. And I don't know. I don't know whether it's just that there's a little bit of sort of we've took away everybody's expression a little bit, to sort of do something a little bit out of the ordinary, and it's just very structured and very sort of stagnated. I mean, what do you think we lacked then?
Well, you said it, width, 100%. And in some games it works in our favour. Like I was looking back at the Newcastle debrief, and I'd say we had width probably on the left against Newcastle, but not so much on the right. All the play was down the left, and that was fine. That worked against Newcastle, but you know, against Palace, and you showed on the debrief yesterday or this morning, I forget when it was. A big hole on the right hand side, and against Newcastle that was fine, but against Palace, it didn't work out for us. So, like you say, it's that kind of a bit one dimensional, and if you figure it out, then what are we going to do next? The obvious fix for that for me was bring Marlon on, bring Bailey on the right hand side to add some width, and we did that. And Bailey came on and played well because that's where the space was, but it was just too late, wasn't it?
Yeah, far too late. This leads us on to probably our biggest area in which we need to improve massively: fullbacks. It's a huge issue for Villa at the minute, and it's something that's just not going away. And the one area that me and you probably last summer were saying right back needs to come in, and it didn't come in. And we are still now talking about the fullbacks and the role of the fullbacks. And I think what's happening, and again, I think what certain teams are able to do against us is pack out that midfield, and that once that ball goes to Matty Cash, I think the opposition just think, okay, we're comfortable, because they know he's not going down there. They know that he's not going to go down there. So when he gets the ball and they've pushed us into this sort of area where your fullback's got it, they know what's going to happen. It's going to go back to Konsa. Opposite side, probably a little bit more different, because they know that Digne's got that delivery from out wide. Like he can cross it from deep. But I just think this problem that we've got with our fullbacks, and then everybody starts inverting, and then we're very, very narrow. And it's personnel for me at times now. It's showing that personnel out wide has got to improve, and it's probably showing that the fact that we're having to, and I've said this before as well, no one likes Rodgers out there at all, but the fact that Bailey's not being there has meant that who goes out there, and that's a massive problem. But like you say, that when Bailey came on and offered that width, and he was posing their fullback a problem, he was getting a lot of joy, wasn't he? So again, it highlights the fact that once you've got a winger out there that's got some pace, that's willing to drive forward, that's willing to beat a man, then you're going to get opportunities there as well. But the biggest one, which I'll catch your thoughts on, is that's all about attacking. The defending from the fullbacks is even worse, because how many times now have we seen these crosses go into the box? Nobody's stopping crosses. We saw one go to Eze, not good enough, not blocked, no one read it. You know, all of our goals come from those areas, and it's just got to be a lot better. 22 shots from opposition's first shot has gone in the back of the net this season. 22, you know, 22. Like, so what are your thoughts on the fullback? And then just what else, and sort of what I've been saying on this show particularly about, you know, how just we're a bit mellow. We're a bit, you know, Emery does all these calm. We've never once this season, for me, been aggressive to stop a cross going in the box. And I think that's a little bit of an issue that we've got, that we're just a little bit too, okay, it goes out wide, it can go in the box, etc. And then someone might deal with it. And I just think that probably the word is intensity. So what are your thoughts on the fullbacks at the minute?
In terms of personnel, I think it's the fullbacks, both sides of the pitch. It's the biggest issue for me. In terms of personnel, I don't think they're bad players. I think they're great. They're great guys. I love them both. And I don't think it's all what I'm about to say. I don't think it's all their fault. Like individually as players, I don't think we particularly play to the strength of Luke and Earl or Matty Cash. And I think both of them have come on and progressed a lot further than what I thought. Probably what I thought they could have. But yeah, it's just not quite enough. I guess let's start going forward. Matty Cash, I think what he struggled with this season, and we talked about it before on WhatsApp, progressive passing, and that's really important for our system, you know, with how we're trying to control the play and, you know, pass through teams. We're going through the middle because I think we don't have the progressive ability from our fullbacks. Now, Matty Cash, I think he's good. I think he can carry the ball forward a little bit, but I don't think his passing is where you'd need this kind of play style to be. And again, I say it's not 100% his fault because of what we were seeing before. There's a massive hole on the right hand side, so does he have a winger to progressively pass the ball to? You know, maybe not. I'd wager. Well, I've looked at his stats this season. His progressive passing is really low, really low. I haven't looked at last season in a while, but I'd wager it's a lot higher than what it's been this season, and that's probably because Leon Bailey was having the season of his life out there on the right wing, providing that width, and Cash had that outlet to pass the ball forward to. Now he's got, let's say, Rodgers, who wants to come inside because he's probably more of a central player. And Cash is the one who's being expected to provide that width. So he carries the ball forward, which he can do a little bit, and then he's got no options, so he's got to turn around and go backwards. So yeah, not 100% his fault. Could he do better? Yeah, is what it is. Then on the left hand side, Digne, I don't think he can do what Emery is asking him to do. I think he's a good player, but carrying the ball, progressive passing, that's not his game. I don't think. I don't think he's been very involved in build up, but I don't think that's his strength. What he's good at is early crosses into the box, looking for the striker, and we've got Watkins in there who, especially last season, he had that that run of games where he was scoring loads of headers. He's good in the air. Playing into maybe why Watkins hasn't had that much of an impact recently. Do we get the ball into the box enough? So we're not playing to Dini's strengths, and we're trying to maybe persist with a game style that doesn't suit him, I think. So that's going forward.
The defending then.
Defensively, there's issues as well. So what I've looked at is, we concede. It seems like we concede the same goal over and over again. Crosses and cutbacks into the box. So that's, we're not stopping the cross into the box, not stopping the cutbacks, and then kind of sleeping at the back post as well. And that's the fullbacks in both instances, not stopping the crosses into the box, not stopping, maybe falling asleep at the back post. So I've looking at like passes, blocks kind of stats, and they're quite low as well for both of our fullbacks, as you probably expect. So that's a big area for me. Our centre backs, unless you've got Mings and Disasi in there, they're probably not the best box defenders as well. So we especially don't want balls going into the box. And yeah, like I say, too often it's the same goal that we concede over and over again. It's like deja vu.
But why has that not been sort of? Why? What I'm trying to say is, like, why hasn't this been rectified? Because it's just, surely it's about the message that gets ingrained into the players. Like, we can see that they are quite technical and tactical, because from set pieces, you look at a lot of them, they're listening, they're working on them, they're sort of like executing them. So, but I just feel like the message from basic defending, it's just, you look at that goal for Eze against Palace, and he sort of chopped in on Luke and Earl, and it's like, it was nothing sort of like tackle / block, or it was just a bit like, I'll try and chop it down and block it, but he missed it, and it goes to the edge of the box. And I'll just go back to this like intensity thing at times with us, that we just not. Maybe it's a leader thing that nobody, who's the talker that's sort of like rallying them round and getting them into position and really sort of like barking the orders. You go back to the game against Man City, dying embers of the game. Who's that one player that's saying, lads, let's get in shape now, let's defend the box, like, be aggressive? And it's just like, Disasi gets sort of turned, cross goes in, no one deals with it, back post, oh, what are you doing there? Two of you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a goal where you're just thinking there's a catalogue of numerous errors in there that can massively be avoided. Yeah, it's really frustrating to watch, because as a fan, we can all see it coming. We know what's happening. We know what the weakness is. And God, if two guys on Up the Villa fan channel can dissect Villa and pick the system apart, then I'm sure Oliver Glasner or whoever, or Marco Silva, can look at all the data that they've got and go, first shot, get it on target, it's probably going in.
Well, I think the answer to your question is, who's the leader, who's barking orders? I think it's Mings.
Yeah.
There's no player in our squad is perfect. So you can have the debate whether you want to go with Mings, you want to go with Torres, you want to go with Matson, you want to go with Dean. There's pros and cons to them all. I'm not saying if we played Mings we would have won, because I thought Pau Torres has had some good games. But yeah, the answer to your question, who's the one that's going to be barking orders, organising? I say it's probably Mings.
Yeah, He's no good on the bench. You see in them situations. So I mentioned it at the start of the show. Then I still can't look ahead at Fulham. I can't look ahead to it. But
it's a tough game. It's a tough game.
Is our season over or not?
We can't have that. It feels like it. It certainly felt like it at full time, but we can't think like that. Players and fans, it can't be flat at Villa Park the next game. We've got 4. You might not want to hear it. We've got 4 big games coming up. We can't be defeated because it's not a given that we're going to be in Europe next season. We've got teams behind us that are good teams that are coming for it. So we can't, as gutted as we all are, massive game we just lost. Yeah, we can't let that affect next season now. And it's about next season. And next season starts with these 4 games, and they're big games, good teams. Even Spurs and United, who are maybe not so good this season. They can turn up on the day. And we've got to finish the job and get into next season. The season's not over.
My only little worry is that confidence-wise, we have a bit of a wobble. And like what you're saying, it can't happen. We have to beat Fulham at home. But I just worry a little bit that we're going to have a bit of a feel sorry for ourselves wobble, and I hope it doesn't happen. And it can't happen, because if it does happen, then I'm going to be on here and I'm going to be fuming another 3 or 4 times this season. So the next phase is making sure that we are ready for the next challenge, and Emery's got to pick it up and go again, because again he is mentioning that this Premier League is the priority. This is the only thing he keeps going on about. We've got a quote here from after the game, and this is what he said after the game. "Sorry to our supporters because they were motivated. We must react quickly because in the league we have the most important objective." So if it is the most important objective, then we have to make sure that we, like you say, rock up in the next 4 games and pretty much win every single one of them. So,
I mean, he's right. He's right, but I don't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear that yesterday. Do you know what I mean? The league is the most important now, because that's what we've got left. But it wasn't yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. And what he's saying is right, but I just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Right, so we'll end it there. I think we've gone through sort of and had a good discussion about some of the areas that are bothering us, really. Well, bothering me, and Earls gave his thoughts onto my points. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment sections on how you're feeling. So let us know. Up the Villa.